up? It's Grace, and right now I'm going to be doing my March reading wrap-up, and I have read 9 things. 3 of those things were novellas, but this was a fantastic reading month. Funny enough though, it was the busiest month I've had in so long, and I think in spite of that I was like, I'm just gonna read as many books as I can because I'm not gonna let my schedule control me. I think that's what I did. So it was a fantastic reading month. So emotional, so invigorating. I'm so excited to talk about it, so let's get into it. The first book that I read this month was a reread, and that is Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. I read this just because I wanted to be in the Shadowhunter world. Because Lady Midnight came out this month, I was just like, gotta be prepared in some way. And I absolutely loved it. I love Chen so much. Anyway, 5 out of 5 stars. So the next thing that I read was a novella, and that was Crown and Arrow, which by Renée Ahdieh, I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, but she wrote The Wrath and the Dawn, and this is a novella to that series. And I just, it was so small, like I don't know if it was like 15 pages, if that. I didn't get anything out of it. The writing is beautiful, but essentially I just didn't get anything. Like, I don't know what it was supposed to add to the story, but it was just a scene that was told in the perspective of the guy in the series. Although the writing was beautiful, there was nothing really for me to, I don't know. I just gave it 2 stars, 2.5 stars, I think. And the next 2 things that I read were also novellas, and the first one was Welcome to Shadowhunter Academy, which is the first book in the Tales of the Shadowhunter Academy set of novellas. There's 10 in total, and Grace, what is wrong with you? Why have you not read them before? I don't know why I haven't read them before. So how I would sum my reading experience of this novella up, I would just say, is it possible to love Simon Lewis even more? And the answer is yes. Yes, it is. I'm giving this novella a 4 out of 5 stars. Also read the second one, which I also gave 4 out of 5 stars. It's called The Lost Harrendelle, and I loved it. But my only complaint about these novellas is they're way too short, and also, why do you have to buy all of them individually? I think you have to. Really didn't look too into it, but I'm pretty sure. And every one is $2.99, and I'm just like, I do believe that a physical bind-up is going to be released in November. I'm still probably just going to buy the Kindle versions, but also buy the physical copies because that's what we do. So I was planning on reading all of the novellas before I read Lady Midnight, but then Barnes & Noble called me and they said, hey Catherine, my real name's Catherine, it's on my card, my middle name's Grace, anyway, your pre-order is in, and I said, oh my gosh, I'll be there in 5 minutes. There I was 5 minutes later purchasing this book. I read like the first chapter in my car, it was hot. Anyway, this book is fantastic, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I'm gonna not talk too much about it, but I will say it is beautiful, and I loved the characters. There was some frustrating parts in it, but I loved I can't really express in words how much I love this. I loved the parabatai. You probably, if you have no idea about the previous 2 series, The Mortal Instruments or The Infernal Devices, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about, so you should probably just go read those. But parabatai is one of my favorite things about the Shadowhunter books. The bond is so intense and so beautiful, and I love the fact that we're reading from the perspective of 2 people who are parabatai bonded, and I loved, what's his name, Julian's siblings, all of them, they were fantastic, and I loved our main character, Emma. She was amazing, and she was very frustrating. I will say that she was frustrating, but I still freaking loved her. I gave this book, again, 5 out of 5 stars. However, as I ended the book, as I read the last page, I was like, are you freaking kidding me? I was a little bit frustrated, a lot of it frustrated, but I hated it and loved it at the same time, if you know what I mean. I can't give anything by Cassandra Clare less than 5 out of 5 stars, except, I mean, the novellas I gave 4 out of 5 stars, but they're written by someone else, and also they're really short. This was fantastic. If I could reread it again with the blank mind, I really wish I would. I'm gonna stop talking about it, but I loved it. After I read The Glory, that is Lady Midnight, it was Slay That Series readathon, so I picked up End of Days by Susan E., which is the last book in the Penryn and the End of the Days trilogy. I was very nervous reading this, or going into it, because If you didn't know, it was supposed to wrap up in 6 books, but ended up wrapping up in 3, so you can see my questioning about this book. But it pleasantly surprised me. I liked it a lot better than I thought I was. Like, as I was reading it, I was really enjoying it, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's happening. But I absolutely love this trilogy as a whole. The characters are like nothing else I've read before. They're so unique. There's just a lot of weird quirkiness along with the world and the plot. And if you didn't know, it deals with an angel apocalypse, which is fantastic. It's so cool. And the covers are beautiful, and I ended up giving this a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read was The Great Hunt by Wendy Higgins, which was not part of my Slay That series TBR. I kind of strayed from it. But I bought this book this month on a whim just because I was kind of having a bad day, and I went to Barnes & Noble and I saw this, and I had read Wendy Higgins' previous 2 books, the first 2 books in her Sweet Evil trilogy, and I really enjoyed them even though I read them a long time ago. And I don't have any plans on completing that trilogy, but I remember enjoying them. I have been trying to explain this book for like a good 5 minutes, and I don't know what is wrong with me, but I just can't. Okay, let me try again. This is, it's like a historical fiction fantasy novel. It's also a retelling of another story. I don't remember what that's called. But we follow this girl. She's a princess of, I believe it's like a Scottish village. They talk in like Scottish accents. It wasn't specified on like what region this is, but anyway. She's a princess, and her village is being kind of taken over by this beast. This beast keeps killing men, whatever. And all the soldiers and all the hunters are like, I don't want anything to do with that beast. I don't want to kill it. It's too scary, and they like leave. So anyway, the king becomes scared, and he finds a way to kind of save his kingdom, and he takes hunters from all over the land and says this: if you kill the beast, then you get to marry my daughter. And they're like, you know what, I'm gonna kill the beast now. And so, like, I don't know, is it like 300 guys try and kill the beast? And that's as best as a synopsis you'll get from me. I wanted to like this book. I wanted it to be just a fun read, but it just wasn't good, I guess, for me. I just didn't... there was a lot of problems I had with it. Didn't like the main character. She was so... I just wanted to pinch her and squish her like a grape. And the male character was annoying. I did enjoy her sister, though. She was fun. Which is kind of funny because the book, the main character, I forget her name, I think it's Airy. It's Airy. Arity. Anyway. It's described so much that she has like blonde hair, but this girl obviously has fire truck red hair, and that bugs me. But her sister also has fire truck red hair. I don't know why her sister would be on the cover because she's not the main character. She's only in it for like, I don't know, maybe 7 minutes. Anyway, I'm talking too much about it. I didn't enjoy this book. I'm sorry. I gave it 2.5 out of 5 stars. It wasn't horrible. It was cool to see the contrast between this book and Wendy Higgins' Sweet Evil trilogy. They're 2 completely different worlds, which is really cool. You know, the variety of her writing and her storytelling. But essentially just didn't really enjoy it. 2.5 out of 5 stars, yeah. This book that I read was Teen Frankenstein by Chandler Baker. I almost said Mary Shelley. Anyway, this is a retelling of Frankenstein, and it's really fun. I have a whole separate review for it, which I will link down below, and I gave this 3.5 out of 5 stars. Not gonna get too into it, because again, I did a whole separate review, so you can find that down below. How repetitive was that? And then the last book that I read, I'm still not over it, won't be over it for a long time. I don't know when I can rest my head at night and not think about it. I'm getting too dramatic. But that is The Winner's Kiss by Marie Rikoski. This, the Winner's Curse trilogy, or is it The Winner's Curse? I believe, yeah, it's The Winner's Curse trilogy. And it is one of my all-time favorite trilogies now. It's just so subtly beautiful. If you didn't know, it's about this girl, and she's in a village one day, and she just happens to she doesn't want to buy the slave, but she kind of gets roped into buying a slave, and the story takes off from there. It's way more than that. It's very politically driven, and the world is so rich and beautiful and so unique. I think I might name my daughter Kestrel because of how much I love Kestrel if I ever have a daughter. I'm serious. I think that might happen because Kestrel is one of my all-time favorite main female characters that I've read from. So fantastic. I love Aaron. There are 2 of, I don't really know how to pronounce his name. Aaron, people say it weird. Anyway, they are one of my favorite couples ever. So, so beautiful. And I just can't stop thinking about this trilogy. And I gave this, of course, a 5 out of 5 stars. So that was my kind of all over the place because there was just too many feelings March wrap up. Is it March? January, February, March. Yes, it is March. I don't know what my favorite read of the month was. It's between The Winter's Kiss and Lady Midnight. I cannot choose because you can't make me do that. It's too hard. But if you read any of these books and you want to tell me your feelings, go ahead and tell me, and then also comment down below what your favorite read of the month is because I'm always interested in knowing that. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.